Alright, so it's about the end of winter. We survived our first winter through at the off-grid house. Big learning experience. I'll go through some of that probably later episodes. This one, the big learning experience was the solar panels. We had to abandon our original idea of putting the panels on satellite mounts, just 2 panels a piece, and having 4 tracking systems because the wind busted the tracking systems one good storm. This was my new idea. As you can see, I've got 4 panels per array on these. They are solar tracking systems. I'll go through the first one that I created, which I got a better idea on the second one, but I had already spent the time in mounting the first one, so it went up. It'll probably be changed sometime during the summer when it's easier to work outside. As you can see, all I did was take the existing 2 poles that I had mounted, put a pole across the middle of it, and then I built this huge contraption. Once again, it's all out of galvanized fence post, so it's fairly cheap. Couldn't tell you how much money I got in the brackets and all that, but it's probably only about $500 for everything, including the tracking systems. So something like this would cost in the thousands. Doing it this way was a lot cheaper. As you can see, I've got each 2 panels has 1 actuator arm, and then I've only got 1 sensor system hooked up. The two panels move independently, but they work off 1 tracking system. So every once in a while they're a little uneven, but for the most part they stay together. You just got to make sure you got the right actuator arms. I ordered these separate. I switched from the 12-inch to the 18-inch to give me a little more push on them. I also deviated the 2. One goes toward the east more, and one goes toward the west more, and that way I can split, early morning sun and late evening sun. This is my first design. As you can see, all the weight's resting on the top, so it's really unbalanced. It's hard to move it up and down. My initial goal is to be able to put an actuator arm at the bottom and adjust for summer and winter, adjust the horizontal elevation. But that ain't happening yet. I had to get them up. Come over to my second design. This design was a lot better. As you can see, I've got the center of gravity on the mount itself in the center of the system, so it's fairly easy to move up and down. And I actually had to zip tie some cinder blocks to the bottom so a good wind wouldn't teeter-totter it, I guess you could say. Once come summertime, I'll build a frame at the bottom, put an actuator arm, and put another sensor system that does the elevation. I just had a blowout. Apparently cheap Chinese actuator arms don't last long. One of the 4 that I just bought has went out already, so I had bought another sensor system for a backup. Came with an 18-inch actuator arm, but it's actually longer and a lot slower, so my panels aren't lining up correctly. But it's working for now until I can afford to get some other actuator arms for a backup. So on this one, you can see I've got a center pole for the top ones, a center pole for the bottom ones, and a center pole for the center of the actual system. The other one I didn't have that. I just put the center pole for the actual system on the top one, and that made it weigh a lot, trying to lift it up. This one's evenly balanced, so I can actually take one arm and teeter-totter this whole system. So that'll give me the ability to put an actuator on the bottom and adjust for summer and winter automatically. Panels are still mounted the same. All 4 panels are run in series, and then the 2 panels are running parallel arrays back at the control box. What it gives me, it basically gives me roughly 136 volts, somewhere around there, at 8 amps per array. So it's roughly 136 volts at 16 amps going into my charge controller. I have a Midnight Solar Classic 200. It's rated at 200 volts at 79 amps, I think, but I don't believe it could do 79 amps. This would be all that I would run off one charge controller. If I was to get anything else, I would put another charge controller in. Just from, you know, what I've researched and everything. Over here, my box is pretty much the same. One single battery to control the actuator arms. I went ahead and put a 12-volt light in here just to burn power off, because I am running that cheap little Chinese charge controller on the wall. And I put a little computer fan up there for a load dump. The reason I did this, the light runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's basically just to burn some juice off that battery. To charge that, I have a 120 watt, I think it is, panel right here. So it gets overcharged all the time. So I just wanted something to balance out the power on that. Once again, these are my new arrays. I'm running, they're 250 watt panels, 4 panels per array. So I'm running 2,000 watts. I've seen it up as high as 1,800 watts, but I have never seen it go above that. So roughly 1,800 watts working power. And that's about it. If you got any questions, let me know. Any ideas to make things better, let me know. And I'm going to try to do a couple other videos coming soon on how I insulated my water catchment system, which I'll walk you over real quick so you can see it. And my new solar hot water heater that isn't even in production yet, or isn't even in use yet. I just finished it this weekend and just did some testing with it, and it seems to be working really good. Here's the hot water heater system. It's basically box spray painted black with 100 feet of garden hose wrapped in a circle, an entry point, an exit point. Everybody's seen them, at least that pays attention to alternative energy. But I do got to admit, just from testing today, it was about 40 degrees. My water is just above freezing from the past couple days, and it heated it up pretty warm on the exit. Here's my water catchment system. It's basically 1,550 gallons. This big box here is my filtration system. It's winterized. Basically, the box is for winter, so I'll explain that in another video. Thanks for watching. Look forward to the comments.